Throughout galactic history, there are stories, myths, really, that whisper of beings so ancient, so powerful, they shaped the very stars themselves. Before the Republic, before the Jedi, before even the Rakata rose to dominance, there were the Celestials, the first gods of the galaxy. Welcome back to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy-Looking Nerf Herders, your home for Star Wars lore and legends. Today we delve into one of the deepest and most mysterious corners of the expanded universe, the Celestials. Who were these ancient architects that molded worlds, commanded the Force itself, and vanished long before history began? Let's explore the myth and the mystery of the first beings to shape the galaxy. The Celestials were not simply a species, they were entities of the Force itself. Ancient beyond comprehension, they existed before written record, their nature utterly beyond mortal understanding. The oldest xenoarchaeological evidence describes them as the ultimate architects of creation, capable of influencing the Force and bending the very fabric of reality to their will. Some scholars believed they were malleable in form, able to manifest however they wished. Others argued they had long since become disembodied energy merged with the Force itself, guiding galactic destiny unseen. Even the ancient Killiks of Alderaan remembered them, or thought they did, claiming their hive mind once witnessed a family of Celestials coalescing from a geyser of light over 1,000,000 years before the Clone Wars. But to the Killiks, myth and memory are the same, and separating the two is impossible. By 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, the Celestials had already dominated the stars. They reached out to countless species, the Gree, Qua, Sharu, Kolumi, humans, Tong, and Killiks, raising some up as servants or tools and driving others into fear and hiding. The Sharu buried their cities beneath vast pyramids and erased their own intellects just to escape celestial notice. The Gree and Qua became engineers in their service, and the insectoid Killiks, their favored laborers, were seeded across the galaxy to build wonders that defied imagination. Among their greatest creations were the Corellian system, the Hapes cluster, the Vultar system, and the deadly Maw cluster near Kessel. Planets were moved like chess pieces, arranged by gravitational repulsors and hyperspace engines to perfect celestial harmony. The mighty center point station stood at the heart of it all, a construct of impossible scale capable of moving worlds and even trapping stars. Scholars in the modern era could only stare in disbelief. Planetary orbits in the Corellian system were too perfect, their alignments too deliberate. Mathematicians concluded the system had been assembled, not born, built by a hand both brilliant and terrifying. These were not the acts of a civilization. They were the fingerprints of the gods. Among the Celestials, three beings stepped out of myth and into known legend. The ones of Mortis, the Father, the Son, and the Daughter, embodiments of the Force itself, the light, the dark, and the balance between them. To maintain that balance, the Father brought a mortal woman into their fold, the Mother, who in time grew fearful of her mortality among the ageless ones. In desperation, she drank from the font of power and bathed in the pool of knowledge, hoping to make herself eternal. But that forbidden act twisted her into something else, something monstrous. She became Aboleth, the bringer of chaos. Her madness spread throughout the galaxy, threatening all that the Celestials had built. To contain her, the Son and the Daughter, now called the Architects, commanded the Killiks to construct the Maw Cluster, a labyrinth of black holes forged by Center Point Station to imprison Aboleth forever. Sinkhole Station would guard her prison hidden deep in the abyss, and for a time, the galaxy was safe. But nothing made by even gods lasts forever. Around 35,000 BBY, their empire fell, destroyed in fire and rebellion. The Rakata, once slaves, stole the Celestials' technology and turned it against them, unleashing what ancient texts called the Grey Swallowing, the devouring of worlds and souls. The Celestials vanished. Some say they were annihilated by the Rakata. Others believe they withdrew into another dimension or merged fully with the Force itself. The Killiks, their loyal servants, were scattered beyond the veil of the unknown regions, their hive minds haunted by half-memories of gods and monsters. In the ages that followed, only the artifacts remained, broken, ancient, and eternal. By 30,000 BBY, the galaxy belonged to the infinite empire of the Rakata, and the age of Celestials had passed into legend. Yet echoes of the Celestials persisted. Their influence lingered in the Force and perhaps in bloodlines. During the Clone Wars, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, the prophesied Chosen One, was drawn into the world of Mortis, where he met the father, son, and daughter. The father recognized Anakin as the one destined to bring balance to the Force, to take his place among them. But the events on Mortis ended in tragedy. The Ones were slain by the Dagger of Mortis, the only weapon capable of killing beings that could not die. With their deaths, the balance was shattered. Aboleth, long imprisoned, felt the void, and in the centuries that followed, she broke free. In 44 ABY, she rose again to spread chaos through the galaxy, only to be confronted and defeated by Luke Skywalker and his new Jedi Order. Even then, the Celestials remained a mystery. Were they gods, ancient Force users, the architects of the universe itself? The Thurut hive of the Killiks offered the only answer they could. They are beyond the understanding of mortals. From the Maw to Centerpoint Station, from Mortis to the distant unknown regions, the fingerprints of the Celestials mark the galaxy still. Every myth of creation, every anomaly of design, every ancient ruin that defies logic may be a whisper of their hand. Perhaps they still exist, hidden beyond the Force, waiting. Or perhaps their work is complete, and we are simply living in their design. And that is all the time we have today to explore the mystery of the Celestials, the first gods of the galaxy. Thank you for joining us here at the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy-Looking Nerf Herders. If you enjoy this deep dive into Star Wars Legends, please like, share, and subscribe to help us continue uncovering the forgotten corners of galactic history. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, consider becoming a member or joining us on Patreon. Every credit helps us bring more lore from the archives to life. Until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf Herders, may the Force be with you.